And this is important. This backdrop of Christ's time on the earth is necessary for you to really understand the battles in the New Testament between Christ and the Pharisees and Sadducees. All right. It says Herod the Great was not ethnically a Judean Jew. He was descended from Idumean and Nabatean Arab lineage. Who were the Idumeans in history? The Idumeans are Edomites. So Herod the Great, who was put in power over Israel a couple years before Christ was born, was not an Israelite. Which means what? A lot of the men that were in his court and that served him, they were also not Israelites. Everybody understands? Right before Christ was born, you have a leadership class in Israel that is not Israelites. When Herod ordered the death of all the firstborns after the wise men came because of the star in the sky told them of the birth of Christ, the reason why Herod was scared of the coming of the Messiah is because Herod knew that he was not an Israelite. So if there's a Messiah that comes, he's going to kill me and take over my rulership. That's why Herod orders the death of Christ in the New Testament, because he's not an Israelite. Everybody understands. And if Herod was not an Israelite, you can easily reason that a lot of the leadership would have also not been Israelites. They would have been of similar descent and put in positions of power the same way that Herod was put in a position of power. Let's read on further. It says, his father was Antipater the Idumean, a powerful high-ranking official. The Idumeans were historically linked to the Edomites, traditionally viewed as descendants of Jacob's brother Esau around 125 BCE. The Hashmonean ruler John Hyrcanus conquered Idumea and forcibly converted its population to Judaism. Because of this, Herod's paternal line practiced Judaism, but many Jews still considered themselves half Jews. So here we have 100 years before Christ was born, Edomites was conquered and forced to serve the God of Israel, which made them identify as Jews, even though bloodline, ethnically, they were not. Everybody understands. So that's that. It's important to know that the leadership class during the days of Christ walking the earth were not Israelites. So a lot of Christ's battles with the Pharisees and Sadducees, a lot of Christ, you are your father, the devil. You must know that a lot of these people were not Israelites. They were devils. And Christ is saying, my sheep will hear my voice. Christ is saying, y'all can't hear me because y'all not even my people. Y'all not even of our bloodline. Which today in the Black Hispanic struggle against white oppression, we find that there is a ruling class above us that cannot relate to our struggle, that cannot relate to our anger and our frustration about white people and about our oppressor. There is a concentrated group of elite, educated, successful, rich Black and Hispanic people that could never side with us against our oppressor because they are of the bloodline of the oppressors. Go and do some history research about the foundation of the NAACP. Go look at the faces of the founders of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and you'll see that they are devils. They're all white. How could an organization created for the advancement of colored people be ran by white people? Go look at some of the great civil rights leaders that we had in the history of this country. You'll find a lot of them are descended from white people. W.E.B. Du Bois was not a Black man who descended from slaves. Booker T. Washington, his daddy was not a Black man that descended from slaves. Yet we are told that these were the men speaking about the oppression of Black people. Frederick Douglass, there's no record of who his father was to say that he was a Black man. Frederick Douglass said he thought his daddy was a slave master. Look at some of the civil rights leaders, the Philip A. Randolph and the Bayard Rustin. Go look at the founders of some of these, they call them the Divine Nine organizations. Go look at the founders of the Black Greek fraternal organizations in America. Go look at the pictures of them, and you'll see that they look like they white. Why? Because a lot of them were white. One of the great civil rights leaders in New York City, there's a street called Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard. Adam Clayton Powell is hailed as a great civil rights orator, meaning he spoke well about the plight of black people and encouraged black people to stand up. Adam Clayton Powell's daddy was a devil, a white man who was a Baptist preacher in Harlem, New York, but he was not our people. I'll tell you who else wasn't our people. What's this nigga's name? What is the nigga? Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam that taught that the white man was the devil. Elijah Muhammad's daddy was white. Fard Muhammad, who Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam teaches was God in the flesh. No, did they teach that Fard Muhammad was God or that he was Muhammad? I think they teach that Fard Muhammad was God. It was Allah. Fard Muhammad was a white man. Fard Muhammad was a white man. Elijah Muhammad was a white man. You know who else's daddy is white? Louis Farrakhan's daddy is a white man. Louis Farrakhan is not our people. Now, this is who has been set before black people as our leaders, as our rulers, as the ones we should follow. All of the, Divine Nine fraternity oath takers, a lot of their daddies are white. But yet these are who portrayed as the leaders of black people, just like it was in the days of Christ. And as Christ goes out to teach and speak, when they come and question Christ about his motives and question Christ about who he's aligning himself with, Christ establishes that I'm not here for y'all niggas. I don't have no dealings with you rich elites, with you high society folk that's, puffing your chests out and dressing all wonderful and nice. You understand? Let me show you what the Bible says about the climate that Christ was living in when he was walking on the earth. Let's get Mark chapter 2, verse 15. And again, just go look it up. I'm not making this up. All of the founders of the NAACP, the Divine Nine, Greek fraternity organizations, many of those founders were white people. Their fathers were white. They may have had black mothers. They may have had, fair colored skin, but a lot of them was mulattoes. A lot of them was mixed with devil blood, which is why those organizations have never done anything to benefit black people. Those organizations have never done anything to teach black people the truth, to bring us closer to the Most High. And anybody that takes an oath to an organization to worship another God or to brand themselves with the identity of a God or the letters of another language onto them, they have taken an oath to worship that God. So they have given their lives in the service of this thing. They cannot serve black people and serve the Greek organization at the same time, which is why Christ, when he came, he didn't deal with those types who was into all of that. He came